Are you ready?
This will be a fun one.
Yep.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Live and just fine. Thanks for asking. You're listening to Open Hours. I'm one of your hosts, Joshua Freeman.
And I'm John Bleeker.
And welcome back. This is episode 9, I believe.
But also episode 2. If
Episode
you just
2.
Think about
yeah. Oh, yeah, you're
2.
right. Disregard the last statement. It's episode 2. Season 2. Welcome. This is a little bit earlier than usual. It's weird looking out the window and actually seeing the sun.
We don't prefer it.
We don't prefer it. We're more we're night hawks, and we're one with the night. But regardless, because of our schedules, we're here to bring you the best content possible on campus, regardless of what anyone else has to say. So, John, I think let's start off the show with a bit that we've discussed in the past that I think we were a little hesitant to talk about, and that is the concept of the Vanguard sitcom.
Yeah. So we've kind of realized that in the 4 years we've been here, that I think all of us have thought we were going to college and getting an education, and it turns out that's actually not true. It turns out that we're all in one big sitcom. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about that, Josh.
Yeah, so the way it works and kind of the way we've talked about this is every individual person is kind of, you have your own show here on campus. You enter in and think of it like this. Every semester acts as a season, much like a TV show. Everyone watches TV. Everyone owns Netflix to some extent, whether it's vicariously through your roommates or your family. And so seasons kind of work like a semester would. And within the semester, there's about 15 to 16 weeks, which are the episode. And so an episode consists of about 5 days, because everyone knows that during the weekend, what happens on the weekend is kind of B-roll, deleted scenes. When you're
half of them go home.
Yeah, so it kind of your episode kind of lasts Monday morning to Friday night, and so we're bringing up this concept because it is really interesting how, just like in a TV show, there's definitely villains, there's definitely heroes in everyone's podcast, and it's funny to see how some of the main actors roll over between different people's sitcoms. And so I think, if we're talking here, we have a lot of the same main characters. I like to think of people like, for instance, and we love her, Kate Frampton has kind of been a main character in just about every season. She came into Vanguard and she was, from the get-go, very well liked, very well received. I'd say she plays a main role in just about everyone's sitcom to this day, with everything that she's doing for the campus.
She plays the role of kind of that friend that's they're not in every episode, but like when they show up, there's like a story to be told there, definitely a contributor.
Yeah.
I think you got like some. And then it goes a little deeper than just who the main characters are. There's also those kind of bit characters. I'm thinking like Soup Nazi. I'm thinking of the concierge from was it iCarly?
iCarly, and then Sweet Life with Zach and Cody had the same like concierge guy. Well, he had a pretty consistent.
He
role.
was a big role, but so was it Looper?
Oh yeah.
There's like the Looperts. There's the
what's the other guy from iCarly? The chunkier boy. Man, it's gonna bug me. Gibby. I think we all know who we're talking about. We all know who Gibby is. We don't need to say it, and we won't, because we don't want to get in trouble. But I think we know exactly, and I think everyone can agree. And if you haven't thought of it this way, start thinking of it this way, because everyone knows that the best quality in people is to start beginning to think that you're in the Truman Show, and that everyone, of course, is watching you, and the world revolves around you, and that you're entitled to everything. I think that is my favorite quality in people, is when people start to walk around and they believe they're entitled to everything because the world revolves around them.
Yep.
I find that kind of laughable.
That's a laugh too. Still going.
The studio audience is just really great to us. Thanks, guys. You're the best.
You're all pals.
We appreciate you. And so I think that's just an interesting topic to move on. It's not meant to be more of like a joke or anything, but just a way to start thinking about school as we enter the last 4 episodes. We're kind of already halfway through this week's episode.
So kind of our farewell, on the show and just at school in general. Our farewell episodes.
A lot of people are, characters are going to get killed off the Vanguard sitcom. There's going to be a lot of people that don't get the spin-offs that they look for.
Canceled.
Some people's episodes just are sitcoms just straight up get canceled, which is unfortunate. So for your seniors out there, start early, freshmen, sophomore, juniors, start living into your sitcom, because it's really important that you realize after you graduate, it's all about the ratings. And if the audience isn't liking your sitcom, you're in for a rude awakening. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, so as we start rolling toward our final episodes here at Vanguard, we kind of want to talk about like our 3 favorite memories. Mm-hmm. So I guess I'll go first.
Yeah.
Back to freshman year. I think a lot of these go back to freshman year. But for me, we had this thing on the floor. 3rd floor freshman year was a pretty tightly knit community. It was one that definitely got along, except for kind of one little dynamic, and that was there was one room over any other room that just that needed its sleep. It slept for like 15 hours a day, kind of when it was hibernating. It did not want to be bothered, and we were a rowdy bunch, Josh. We were kind of we'd be up till whatever hours of the morning and doing whatever we wanted, and it became this dynamic where they would come out and get frustrated with us, and we'd respond and get quieter, and then the moment they closed their door, we'd go and bang on their door. Well, they quickly learned that you could respond to that with violence, and so there was kind of significant motivation to get out of their way. And we invented a new sport. They were at the end of the hall, and so what we would do is we would go and we would open on the other end of the hall. We'd open a door, and the goal of this, we called this the running of the bulls. And the goal of this was to put as many people on one side of the hallway, knock on the door, and then run as fast as you could to the only other room with an open door without ever getting caught by the bulls, which were the people that we were kind of ding-dong ditching. And it ended in more than one casualty, number of Gatorade bottles thrown, kind of stuff like that. But that's my first favorite memory, I think.
Yeah. This is supposed to be a bowl sound effect.
I think it's snoring, maybe.
It's more of them. It's just kind of disappointing. Unfortunately, we don't pre-test any of these, so they're very hit and miss. Your number 2. What's your number 2 memory from Vanguard?
My number 2 would definitely be the Breakfast Club. Mm-hmm. And we had this thing sophomore year where every morning, 5 days a week, we would go to breakfast at 7 a.m. Right at the opening. I'd probably eat for 20 minutes and then go immediately back to bed. And it was the best and worst feeling. Like, have you ever had calf breakfast? It's awful.
Yeah.
But best and worst sleep you would ever get.
I feel you. And then tell us about your number 1 memory from Vanguard.
Number 1 memory from Vanguard is definitely midnight breakfast. And not just the institution of midnight breakfast, but extreme apple fork.
I've seen that.
And now, apple fork is a common kind of college experience of chucking an apple and landing it on a fork, and then chucking that and landing it on another fork.
Yeah.
Extreme apple fork takes that concept and adds about 30 feet of distance. And so I will never forget the moment. I think it was the 8th fork in this apple. It cleared 3 tables and went from one end of the calf to the other end, and the recipient of that apple was... and I was around for the throwing of the apple. I deny any involvement, but the person who received the apple was nearly kicked out, which is a fun one.
Damn shame. Yeah, so those are 3 really good memories.
Yours?
Yeah, so rifling through mine, kind of just reminiscing on my experience here at Vanguard. I think my number 3 moment would probably be that one time I made the peanut butter and jelly sandwich as my talent at Vanguard. VU's got talent. Rest in peace. We miss you. Got up on stage, and as a joke, I had mentioned to someone in passing that I really wanted to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and kind of like that was one of my main talents, only talent actually to this day. And so yeah, I got up on stage and without saying a word to anybody, just proceeded to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Of course, with the extra crunchy peanut butter, because if you use anything besides that, yeah, I have a good filter. I was going to say something there, and I'm really glad I didn't. But I proceeded to make this peanut butter jelly sandwich in complete silence, and ate it on stage. And I remember the judges were sitting in the front row, and there was a lot of confusion on their faces as I think it was a bit surreal to them that they were even seeing such talent in the first place.
Yeah, it was a chilling moment. You know, it moved the audience to kind of a very introspective place for sure.
Yeah, a few people cried. My number 2 moment would just be floor antics, I think, for my freshman year. I think that goes for a lot of Huntington guys. Stuff like, you know, playing putt-putt in the hallway, sinking some sweet hole-in-ones from across the hall, off the walls, off the ramps. Yeah, we made some... other people made some damages to the hallway that, of course, are just unforgivable.
What floor were you on freshman year?
4th floor, actually, with Jaime. Yeah, I really liked him. Me and him got along pretty well.
I forgot he existed.
Yeah, and he got married.
Is that what happened?
I was a little bummed that I didn't get invited to his wedding, but that's fine. Yeah, so floor antics like that were really fun. If you're familiar with it, stuff like the spaghetti monster is a form of ding-dong ditching that I won't go into much detail on for safety reasons, but also just things like Super Smash and the Nintendo 64. Yeah, just those first years where you really become friends with people who you never end up talking to again.
That's good.
Just really good times. And I think my number 1 moment comes from last year. And I'm capable of reliving this moment over and over again on YouTube. It happened to be the Woo Fest that we put together last year, revolving around the theme of Pirates of the Caribbean. And I think specifically speaking of the moment when, if you were there, maybe you saw it. If not, it's on YouTube. A little bit of Googling, you can find it. But essentially, the lights went out, and the song Hoist the Colors from Pirates of the Caribbean, I believe it's 2, started playing. And just the way the bass in NMC works just shook the stage. And I just remember thinking in that moment, like no one could see because the lights were out, but I think I was smiling bigger than I had ever smiled before in my life, because a bunch of hard work had finally come together. And I think just the feeling of standing on that stage and like the crowd receiving it so well, and having all my boys walk down the aisles.
My boys.
Yeah, my boys. Walking down the aisle was something just like really surreal. And definitely not a moment I will forget anytime soon. So those are kind of like our Vanguard moments.
Yeah, there's some good ones. I think it's really one of those things that, and looking back, you can kind of really see. There's been some pockets of memories. I know there's probably some that we haven't even touched that are, still out there as things that we've been impacted by.
Yeah, and I think now that we've kind of reminisced and kind of had a moment of nostalgia, I think I'd like to move on to our segment that is the over-compliment segment. Now let's turn the energy up in here. I feel like we're a little down. So this week on the over-compliment segment, there's a lot of people who need this. I feel like this week we have someone very special.
Debriana Cabbage!
All right, so this week on the Overcompliment segment, we're going to talk about Debriana Cabbage Patch. Yeah, you know her really well. I know her really well. Everyone on campus knows her really well.
Here's the weird thing about Deb, and the thing that I'm starting to appreciate but also be real perplexed by, is the fact that she's mom and sister and best friend and counselor and
prophet,
Jesus,
borderline,
just a lot of different people.
Yeah, not just us. Yeah.
But all at the same time. You'll be walking somewhere with her, and like 9 people will like stop you guys and be like, "Oh no!"
Yeah.
Like, and just talk about something that Deb did that like had some kind of impact. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've said it before to Deb, and I mean I think we can all agree on this as just people who get to be blessed to make her acquaintance.
Yeah.
She is the kind of person who can instantly light a room up with her smile, her jokes. I mean, she tells better jokes than you and I will ever be capable of. Just the way she delivers them. If you haven't heard Deb tell a joke, ask her to tell you a joke, any joke.
And the thing to pay attention for with that is that she actually thinks the joke is funnier than you ever will.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it such a good delivery.
Mm-hmm. It's the way she says the joke that makes the joke so funny. And so I think anytime I get to spend even a moment with her, I consider myself very blessed.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard, she's currently working on her debut. I wouldn't even say debut. Apparently there's a secret album from her freshman year that only a handful of people
No, really?
Yeah, you haven't heard about this?
I heard she recorded some stuff.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that was for real.
I'd say, yeah. So apparently there's a handful of people that have heard this. Yeah, if you're listening to this
and you
own this album, please send it to us. Don't ask Deb for permission. Send it to us first, and then we'll decide the fate of that album. But I can assure you, if it's something that Deb released, even as a freshman, it is something that is quality.
Yeah, quality songwriter, quality musician.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Shirley Goodness is just something that I feel like follows Deb anywhere around. I just feel like anytime I'm with Deb, kindness, goodness, love, compassion chases me. Yeah.
Every wretched part of me
is like I'm a pretty wretched person. You know this. A lot of people know this.
And
Yeah.
And she knows that God's love's enough.
Yeah.
And that she'll never stop loving him.
Yeah. And that's the best quality I feel like in Deb is, I mean...
And she'll never stop needing him.
She'll never stop needing.
Surely. Anyway.
Yeah, anyway. So, Deb, we love you to death. And we feel like you deserve all the goodness that comes to you.
Yeah.
And then some.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's to many more weird days, Deb.
Yeah. On to our next segment. Let's see. What do we have slated here? Oh, yeah. Advice. So, yeah, this past Friday, I had the opportunity to be on a panel, preview panel, where, I mean, you've seen it.
Oh, yeah. I went to one.
Yeah. I never got to go to one, but I got to be on the panel for one. And I think a cool thing for us to do here would be to offer up some advice to incoming freshmen. If this finds you, I mean, I feel like this could be served as like a time capsule kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like they could stop having...
Like this should go on the marketing material.
Yeah, I was going to say, they could stop having panels and just start playing our podcast to incoming students. And I think that's convincing enough of why they should come.
Well, easy step one, and I believe this is a freshman, but here's the thing. You don't actually have to go to the CAF.
Yeah, funny.
And here's what I recommend. Everyone likes some kind of chips. Like, you're lying if you say you don't.
That's the truth.
So here's what you do. Pick any drink off the wall, any chips off the wall, and go to Outtakes and get yourself a peanut butter and jelly.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've lived the last 2.5 years at Vanguard almost solely off of meal replacements.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing is it's not that the CAF is this social experience that you're going to quickly learn is maybe not what you're cut out for. Go get a meal replacement. They're filling. They're everything you need them to be. Often way more consistent than the CAF is. Anyway,
I remember they used to have sushi in meal replacements.
I've never had it.
No, it was good. It's not like quality.
Not like sushi.
It's not sushi, but I mean, like they had spicy tuna and California rolls, and they honestly weren't bad. So I mean, maybe they'll bring those back. I think another piece of advice. This is a very serious one. Funny enough, when I say serious, the advice would be don't take yourself too seriously coming into college.
Yeah.
And I if you've been my resident before, you've heard this spiel. I don't care if you were varsity captain, football player, quarterback, all 4 years of high school, or you sat by yourself in the restroom eating lunch for 4 years.
It doesn't matter.
When you come to college, it really doesn't matter. What bugs me is seeing people come in thinking they're entitled to something when really they're not. And I'm kind of mentioned this earlier in the podcast. That's sarcastically my favorite quality in people. But I think you, as an incoming freshman, would be a lot better off if you realize that you really aren't entitled to anything, that you're not on a higher playing ground than anyone else on your floor or anyone else in your class. I think once you realize that and you start treating people as equals, then you'll just be a lot better off for yourself. You know?
Yeah, I think it works in both directions too. If you think you're way below.
Yeah. Start living into your vocation.
Yeah. I think in kind of a similar vein to kind of the freshman advice thing, I would say avoid the DTR bench at all costs.
Yeah.
Just because other people sit there and other people sit there with girls or guys they think are cute or anything like that. Or if and here's the other side. If anyone asks you to sit at the DTR bench, run. Yeah. It means they don't own a car. It means that they've never been on a proper date. It means that they don't know how to talk at a coffee shop. Yeah. DTR bench relationships start and end in horrible places. So avoid that one. At least, just have the discretion. Because here's the deal. Once you're seen at the DTR bench, you get the question, and then you get the whole what's going on, and you don't want that unless you do, and then that's a different problem. Yeah. But I mean, realistically, no. Come on, guys.
You don't want that. It almost sounds like you're speaking from experience there.
No, I'm not actually.
Living vicariously through other people.
Well, here's the deal. I lived above the DTR bench for 2 years, and so I asked most of those questions.
Yeah, so I feel like that's a good thing. Is I feel like the best kind of wisdom comes from experience or experiencing through other people. And I think I've experienced a lot of things through other people. I think another piece of advice would be don't be afraid to have some fun and let loose. I feel like some people come in and
contractually.
Yeah, all on contract, of course. We completely condone everything that the contract entails. But I think what's really important is don't be afraid to say yes to Midnight Jack in the Box Fights. Hey-o. Don't be afraid to say yes to going to the beach and ditching a couple classes. I mean, yeah, it's like, I forget the exact
Go to a good beach, though. Don't go to frickin' Huntington. No one likes it there.
There's like La Jolla. Any of the beaches in Laguna, honestly, are really nice.
Real nice.
Yeah, don't be afraid. I mean, I know it's like, I forget what the exact math is when you skip a class and how much money that costs. It's something over $100. It's something ridiculous. But don't think about that.
No,
that's what the scholarship's for.
Think about this. You are paying that much in tuition to be able to enjoy your day off.
Yeah, exactly. That's how much is your time worth to you. So don't be afraid to say yes to things like skipping class to go have a little bit of fun.
Say yes to saying no.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's kind of the only advice I have. Don't take yourself too seriously. Don't be afraid to say yes. Anything else, I feel like, any other advice I have, I feel like it would be a disservice to spoil your Vanguard experience and not let you figure it out by yourself. John,
Absolutely.
You have anything else?
No, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then kind of one last thing on kind of a personal note. We have often said not to approach us out in the wild.
Please don't.
But I've started something recently, and I think it's kind of a beautiful conception. But I've started live streaming every time that I walk to and from class because I've been gifted a selfie stick. And I think just kind of as a product review, I think everyone should own one. But it's also been this beautiful tool because no one's comfortable having like deep conversations on camera. So for me, I've had a bit of a rough couple weeks, primarily last couple days, and so. Yeah, it's this great way for me to kind of like hide from the public questioning eye, you know, while just kind of hiding in plain sight, kind of thing. So come help the stream out if you're interested in helping me put up a facade. That's what that's about. So
yeah, I think I can't think of anything else that I think would be better than to walk around and put a facade on, especially like during these really hard times.
Yeah.
These last 3.5 episodes are going to be really hard.
Yeah, so help me be fake.
Yeah. And I think on that note, I think that's it for this week.
Yeah, I think that's all we got. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
This is a little more sappy than normal, but
but I
think
think
it's good stuff.
Well, every now and then we're allowed to pull that card. But as always, from our hearts to yours, we wish you a very good week, and good night.
Yeah, I want to, I kind of want to toss like a Hail Mary here.
Okay. I don't know where you're going with this, but...
And I'm just going to mention something to see if that person has ever heard or is listening or has people who listen.
Yeah.
Brielle Alba. So Josh, pity shout out.
Yeah, Josh McDowell, pity shout out.
And Mo.
That's all you're getting.
Yeah, Mo, what's going on? You want to be here?
Just let us know. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm still kind of confused. Yeah.
Debriana Cavatak worship audition?
Yeah.
You want to click on that?
Yeah, let's Debriana Grace.
Is this for like
it's
the
8
part?
minutes.
8-minute worship audition.
I'm Debriana Cavatak, and I'm
Shoot.
a worship leader from Southern California.
No way.
And I just wanted to thank you so much for taking time to watch my audition
You're welcome.
video. I believe that worship is empowering and it's transforming, and every time that we corporately enter into the presence of Jesus.
That's good.
All right.
So, do you have a song of the week?
Oh, song of the week. What are we doing with that?
What do you mean what we're doing with that?
What do we have?
I don't have a song of the week.
All right. Well, here
I have a couple songs that I've been listening to a lot this week.
I got one, and this one fits exactly. It fits exactly where I am soul wise. I think right now. This is the opening to a little bit of Manchester Orchestra. I Can Barely Breathe. So if you're into that kind of stuff,
when the dark flood came,
sad music.
we wrapped ourselves inside it.
There you go.
I think I think an important thing right now is if you see John around campus, don't just approach him because of the selfie stick. But if you see John, much like we encouraged people to hug Kyle Brown last week, give John a hug. I think John could really use a hug at this point. I won't hug him because I'm not a physical touch kind of guy, but I hear John's number one love language is physical touch.
I think it's third, but it's it's up there.
It's actually like one of my last.
Yeah, no, gifts is a solid 0% for me.
Yeah.
This is actually getting kind of introspective now. No, number one's definitely quality time.
Mine too.
Yeah, I think that's like, and that's a bummer because like, I think when people hear that they think like, oh, spending time.
It's quality,
and it's really like I can spend 10 minutes with someone and that'd be enough if I feel like it's really good quality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a weird one. I feel like I'm on a journey of discovery with that as well, where like that's how I felt about quality time with other people.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I just spent time with you. That's enough, and I think that kind of surfaced in bigger problems in my life that are kind of coming to a head now. But number two would definitely be words of affirmation.
Well, you and me are very similar.
Yeah,
but then in that respect.
Yeah, I think touch might be like third. I think it's like dominated by those two.
Yeah.
But gifts are almost a 0 for me, which is weird. I don't know why, but
yeah, I'd say I'm very similar in terms of quality time, but also like I'm a little weird when it comes to words of affirmation. It's hard for me to receive compliments because, I mean, as you know, mainly because of this podcast, receive a lot of compliments. And it's easy to tell when people are complimenting you for the sake of just
saying
something. So it's interesting. I appreciate a good, well thought out compliment.
Yeah, no, I would actually argue that being high in words of affirmation, it's kind of like quality time. Mm-hmm. It's not time.
It has to be quality
time. It's quality words of affirmation. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But yeah, I think I'm very much the same way. I think flattery is almost more damaging.
Yeah.
But I guess you weren't asking for it, but there's some insight into John and Josh.
Interesting how we got there.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Do you have a sound to play us out, Josh?
I think let's just click popular and write out on Ultimate Duke Nukem soundboard. Okay.
This might be a little R-rated. Yeah, I think
we're not going to do any of those.
We're not going to do any of these ones.
So we're going to go. We did that one last week. We're not going to do that one. Oh man, these are all pretty rough.
That one.
You feel like this one?
Yeah,
okay. Well, let's find an appropriate one in here to write out.
But yeah, song of the week, I Can Barely Breathe, Manchester Orchestra, poetry set to loud music. Absolutely beautiful.
Do you see any? Not in this one.
No.
I almost feel like... Okay.
Oh, deer sounds. Let's try a couple of deer sounds.
I feel like that's what we need. Some peaceful... Whatever the first one is, we're clicking it. Okay.
We promise that's a deer.
Deer making contact call.
All right. Elk rage grunt.
So if you hear that, run away. Kill deer bird call sound. Yeah. So basically... Oh, that sounded like a little fart. I guess that's
also... I feel
also...
like most deer sound like... Oh, sparring. Do sparring.
Sparring?
All right.
Sounds like a bunch of sticks rubbing together.
I mean, if you think about deer sparring, I feel like that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I'd say their tusk. It's their
antlers.
Their antlers.
It's basically just like sticks tied to your head.
Yeah.
Kinda. And you look at Max from How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Yeah. The one dog, yeah.
A little stick tied to his head.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that does it. Oh, wow. Well, that's a stag at night. Oh. Yeah, I think that does it for this week. So
you learned something about us, some good music, hopefully.
Yeah. I think that's all we have for you guys this week. I'm kind of I don't want to say goodbye, but...
Not ready to let go.
Yeah, that
was a poorly selected... Why did I say that? Dang. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, we'll ride out on this one. Night, everyone.